this recording with no previous concept as to why I'm actually entering this recording. Yeah. So, here we are. Just kind of sitting here, drink. Okay. What is expectation? Expectation. The concept of idea, the very purpose of the moment, the embodiment of what it is you think you want from all of the accumulation of the moments, of all of the thoughts, feelings, and realities, the thing. Is disappointment any lesser or greater? Who knows? I always wanted to talk about cups more, like the idea of what a cup actually is. So here's a cup. Is it a cup? This sounds really dumb, but honestly, just humor me. The concept of cup, we take our sand, we fire it into glass, we form it into something we pour liquid into, but I mean, beyond our desire to pour liquid into something, to pour liquid into that cup, is that cup a cup without our desire to pour liquid into it? Thus, that is an analogy, or an analog, if you will, for all of humankind's understanding and manipulation of reality. The very concept of their gods, the very concept of how and why things work is all the cup. It's the projection of the need and the desire of the culmination, of intellect into reality, into unquestioning reality. But in actuality, nothing is. The cup is not a cup. The cup is molecules formed into a shape that is means as humans pour H2O into or whatever it is and drink out of it. So our action creates the reality, and thus is the way that we perceive time and objects. I always want to talk about time, so fuck it, let's talk about time. My concept of time deviates from the norms. I believe that the popular concept of time is an absolute misunderstanding of physics. I believe the concept of reversing time and all that kind of thing is quite silly. To me, the first concept of time represents a fishnet, if you will, a string, a resonance, an actuality that perpetuates due to its sticky nature, due to the fact that it repeats, due to the fact that it habitates, due to the fact that it coalesces, due to the fact that it is what it is, where it is. This is the reality that gets defined because it is what it is, where it is. That's the whole nature of reality, to human beings especially. So time, the fact that they assume it's a forward-moving line, well, the forward-moving line is the adaptation of evolution that allows us to understand chronology more succinctly and distinctly than any other creature in the whole planet. This particular evolution, much like the evolution of advanced eyesight, allows humankind to store conceptual data over particular timelines and within the same evolutionary construct to store language through the compilation of letters and, of course, conceptual sounds. Yeah, I'm getting crazy. I don't know what conceptual sounds is, but honestly, what we do is we see time as a progression because that's the way we store information, and our consciousness allows us to make adaptations this way. The storing of information in a chronological sense allows us to arrange the steps, the concepts, the feelings, the everything going forward to backwards, allows us to copulate ideas into formulated concepts, much like the formation of the wheel moving forward and having a progression. But the sense progression, we couldn't connect 2 points in space, 2 concepts, 2 captured visuals. We need this concept of time to allow us to progress intellectual data. This play button, if you will, allows us to consume and reproduce steps, if you will, which we call reality. But in actuality, it's a series of steps. Time, however, is a different concept that I believe humanity is able to understand. Time being a frequency harmony. Time back to the net, back to the string. Is a reality that's formed by the harmonic resonance. This frequency is what our atomic scale resonates at, and thusly is actuality is actually our perception of time. If our molecular structures shrink, our concept of time, we could say expands. I'm not entirely sure that's an accurate representation of what happens. However, the smaller we get, the more segmented our frame of reference becomes, just as a ruler. Think of the larger measurements, kilometer, being very large creatures. When you break it down to meters, we have smaller creatures, and even smaller and so on and so on. So the concept that a person could travel backwards in time is quite silly. When in actuality it's happening, all the physics in our universe relates on particular harmonic frequencies that we interpret as time. However, are not time. Is in actuality the frequency of harmonic material resonances. If we were, for instance, a fly, we would have a slightly different interpretation of the harmonic resonant timeline, as does a quark. I don't understand what a quark's interpretation of reality could be, if anything. But I most certainly don't claim to have that frame of reference handy and understandable. Regardless, this concept of time, I hope, has at least been partially expressed. And that time is a frequency, not a progression. The progression trick of consciousness. To allow us to store information in a way that we can replay and use to recreate adaptations in a more flexible and dynamic manner. It's the ability to use the cart to overcome the hill, to consistently add those tools to our tool belt as a library that we can write down, store, pull back out of the library, and reuse at any time. It's quite amazing. No creature in the whole planet has anything close to that low level of adaptation. I bid you adieu, and good night.